So, good morning to another day, and it's day 9 of the Captain's Blog from a now quite sunny Ranworth Staithe on Malthouse Broad, but last night certainly wasn't. First of all, it was night time, and secondly, it was raining, blustery, the wavelets hitting the hull, really pounding, splush, 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 all night long. So, not the most restful sleep for me, to be honest. It's just after 8 in the morning here. The sun is out now. There is blue sky, but there is a lot of cloud, and it's sort of, the colour of the cloud. I'll show you in a moment. But basically, I think it's probably going to be a typical April showers kind of day. Sunshine and showers. I haven't actually checked the weather, so it could be improving. But it's certainly... there's this stiff, cold breeze coming across the Broad. So as you can see, it's a mixed affair with the cloud. It's certainly lovely at the moment, but when you look over here, you can see some of that larger cloud that's coming in. As to what's going to happen today, I don't know at all. We don't need to go particularly anywhere. I've got stuff on board, so eating out or in is an option. One place I did think about going, however, though, is or maybe overnighting tonight, is Womack Water, because we haven't been there in this trip, and there's an awful lot of change that's happened along the Dyke that leads to Womack Water, where the Environment Agency have removed some of my favourite wild moorings of Captain's Bogs before. You would have seen me use the rond anchors on the Dyke that leads to Womack Water just before the 24-hour BA moorings along there, and unfortunately at the current time the riverbanks are devoid of very much at all, just very muddy. They've lost all the quay heading, and they've been reduced down to the typical sort of issue that they're doing now: flat tops, 45-degree angle into the river. But the thing is, this is a new sort of way of doing things, whereby before you would have the bank with the quay heading and it would be maintained because it was a flood defence, and they have now built up sort of secondary flood defences behind these with larger sort of spill-off areas of where the water can go, and it means that they don't need to have all of this quay heading. So I personally believe that it's probably going to be more of a test to see what happens. How effective is this? Is it going to erode really quickly? In like 5 years' time, are we going to have collapsed banks and goodness knows what? And they go, well, that was a terrible idea, put the quay heading back. I don't know. What I do know is, despite not being a sort of scientist in these matters, if you have a quay heading and the passing wash of boats hits that quay heading, and the waves and the current generally, there isn't bare mud exposed. And when you have bare mud exposed, which we now have on a lot more of the rivers, every time the water passes through that, hits it, whatever, some of it's going to go, and some of it's going to turn up into silt in the water stream, which eventually will settle at the bottom and cause more silting on the bottom of the rivers, which will reduce the depth and require more dredging. I think that's a pretty much standard approach that doesn't require, scientific levels of knowledge, that if you have something in front of something, it protects it, and if you remove it, you remove the protection. So I think the jury's out on that. What it does mean is there's lots of moorings now which are not really that easy to moor at. You could moor at it when it grows up, but it's going to have an awful lot of reeds instead of grass patches, and it's just not going to be an easy mooring. But my advice would be much as the same on Fleet Dyke, where there are areas that you can moor that have been sort of trodden down and stuff, is once the reeds start to grow and you can see that there's firm ground, if people start to use them as a mooring, then you suddenly have these sort of designated patches. Oh look, someone's moored there before, and then someone else moors there and someone else moors. And so as a boating community, we sort of reclaim the moorings that we used to use that then were lost and now we can use, but not as easy as before, if that makes any sense. and I just used the analogy of Fleet Dyke, which was the first dyke to have this, technique used on it, and that was a number of years ago. And if you went down there, you wouldn't really know, but if you were from the past, you'd say, oh, I remember when this all had key heading on this side, and you could moor up there, and it was lovely. And so now, when you go down there, there are a few places you can moor, and you'll see them, because the reeds are all trodden down, and they're just spaces where sort of boats have done it. So that's my opinion on that matter. As for right now, as I say today, I'm going to be getting underway in some time, and I think we're going to have a little bit of a cruise about, but I'm just going to take it really easy today, if that's alright. So I was transferring a lot of footage last night off the memory cards, and I thought, oh, there was more footage than I thought, so there may well be more footage than I thought today. We'll just see. But so there we are, a morning opinion and an unknown rest of the day before us. So we're underway, and we're not too far away from the mouth of the River Ant. It's a glorious day, the sun is out, there's lots of blue sky but puffy clouds. I'm pleased that it's the fact that there isn't sunshine and showers, it's just sunshine. There is quite a biting wind out there though, which is getting stronger. The temperature is only about 7 degrees, so it's chillier today than it has been before. Wasn't too cold last night, mainly because of the rain and the cloud cover compared to other nights where we've had clear skies. But it's just a lovely day to be on the water. I'm heading towards St Benets, and I'm going to see what's like, if people are around or whatever, and maybe, give filming another go. Do have to just keep your wits about you in this type of boat. Currently, as we're cruising along, the wind is coming across me like this, so you keep needing to put steering input towards the left so you don't get pushed sideways into the reeds. But it's interesting when you have an extended trip like I have had, where you've got longer than a week, because if you have like a short break, weekend, fortnight, you just get in the zone of being on the Norfolk Broads, you're used to the boat, you're comfortable, you relax, and then it's time to go home. When you have a week's holiday, that doesn't tend to happen, but you have sort of like by the middle of the week, you might suddenly think, oh blimey, we've still got to go to such and such, and we haven't done this, and we said we wanted to do that. And then it becomes almost like you can see time rapidly vanishing before you, and you don't want it to end. When you have sort of 10 nights or even 2 weeks, you do that kind of part, but then you just think, it's just another day, let's go and do this, and spend more time, on shore, or taking that extra long time in the shop, because time no longer really sort of is a big, got to cram it in. And I think the ultimate is, whether you're on the Norfolk Broads, canals, whatever, it's when people are in their retirement and they really can say, oh, let's go and spend a couple of weeks on the boat, and they just can. And there's a lot of people that do this. When you look at, I suppose, if you look at demographics of the Norfolk Broads sort of ownership, there is a lot of retired people that own boats, but I'm not sure if that's so much a specific Norfolk thing or not, but to my mind, younger, sort of more wealthy individuals might own a seagoing boat and have it on the south coast and enjoy that whole scene, and then the retired person who likes the peace, tranquility and easy flowing nature of the rivers and Norfolk Broads. That's not to say that everybody that owns a boat on Norfolk Broads is retired, by no means, but it's just something that I was thinking about. and I'm thinking about now is those moorings at St Benets look pretty full. So I better go and concentrate and see what's what. So we're moored here at St Benets, and that was an interesting mooring if there ever was one, because as I said when we were going along, the wind's blowing across the boat like this. So because as I come to moor, the wind's trying its utmost to prevent me from doing so and pushing me away from the bank. So what I had to do is I thought I'll give it 3 attempts, and if it doesn't work I'm gonna give up trying to moor here. But the first attempt, I came into moor, and immediately as I came to a stop, the bow just sort of went away like this. Fortunately I've got bow thrusters, so I brought the bow in, and because then the back started to drift out, and I thought I can't get off, it's too dangerous. So a little bit of messing around. Then again what I did was bow thruster to bring the bow against the bank, hard right wheel, tick over on the throttle to bring the stern in at the same time, almost crabbing the boat in sideways. And then when I thought that there was a lull in the gust, I can quickly get off of the boat, which I did. But then of course the next gust comes, and so a gap of like a foot from the quay heading turns into 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. The ropes are going out, so quick knot on the stern, that's held then. Now I can relax a little bit, because the worst that's going to happen, the bow will swing round, but the boat's not going to go anywhere. I'm safe, boat's safe. But I ran along the bank, grabbed the bow rope, got it round the post. The boat is now probably a good sort of 3 feet away from the bank, but being held by both ropes. So then it's a case of unloosen one rope, bring the bow in, tie, go to the stern, just sort your ropes out like that. If there was more of you, 2, 3 people on a boat, it's so much easier. And in that situation, if you ever come into moor and the wind is trying to push you away from the bank, then first of all get someone on your bow and get them off the boat first. Okay, because you've got least control over your bow. Most boats don't have bow thrusters, okay? But don't let them worry about knots and stuff. All you want them to do is onto the bank, rope a couple of times around the post, and then the post is doing all the work. It's holding the boat, and they're just stationed at the post. They don't need to worry about anything else, okay? Then you can bring your stern in. You can turn full right lock, tick over on the throttle. The bow rope is holding the bow, it's not going anywhere. You can bring the stern in, and then you can get off yourself with the stern rope and tie it up. If there's 3 of you, then obviously 2 people can get off the boat. But the main thing is, in those sort of circumstances, never try and hold onto the boat. Oh my god, no. If there's a post, use it to your advantage. Don't just put one tie around it, because it will slip, it will run. But a couple of tight turns around the post is then taking all of the force, and you can just relax then, and then you can do a knot if you want to. But that gets your boat stable. And I see lots of people, maybe they've come into moor with the tide, or what's happening was my bow suddenly disappearing over here, and they're struggling to try and pull it in, and it's just not going to happen. So think about what the wind's doing, think about what the current's doing. Reeds are a great indication for the wind. You can look at them, they're like mini little flags, the way they're blowing, their direction. So I knew that the wind was coming across this way, and I knew by just looking around me at stuff in the water that it doesn't seem like the tide's going out or coming in. I know I haven't looked at the tide tables to be able to ascertain what the tide's actually doing, but I knew I was safe to come in and moor on my preferred side, left, because that's where I can look out of and quickly nip round and get off the boat from. So it's all those little indicators that add up to making a good mooring. Same as when you go to depart the mooring. What's the tide doing? Have a look at your ropes. If one rope is really loose and floppy and the other one's taut, then you know, okay, the tide is running, so say the bow rope, for example, is taut and the stern is loose, that the tide is coming this way, it's hitting the bow and it's trying to pull the bow out. So undo your stern, you ain't going to go anywhere. Get everybody ready, and then you can lastly untie your bow, immediately get on, and the bow will just swing out with the tide, and then you can power away from the quay. In my circumstances here, it's going to be interesting because The minute I untie one of my ropes, the boat will want to just depart the mooring straight away. So what I tend to do in this circumstance is I will untie my bow rope first, let that do what it wishes, and then as long as I can get on at the back and untie my stern rope, or I will untie my stern rope from the knot, have it wrapped round the cleat, and then I can get on the boat and then undo the knot on the cleat, and then I'm already on the boat as I take the rope off of the post. It's just sort of a feel for things and experience. I was moored this morning at Ranworth, as you know, at the Staithe. Obviously that wind that's blowing across the boat here was coming against the Staithe there, but it meant that as people come into moor stern on, a tricky manoeuvre at the best of times, a lot of the people that were doing it would just come and think, right, I know what I've got to do, but they weren't also thinking, what's the wind going to do to me? The minute I turn the boat, obviously something must happen to it. Well, it does. And so as the boat turns into the wind's pushing it like this. It doesn't want to go that way round, so it doesn't want to bring the stern round. So in those kind of situations, there's a flag at Ranworth Staithe, and that will tell you a good indication of what direction the wind is doing. And then what I often do is you can come in for an attempt, depends what boat you're on. High-sided planing boats like this, not so good. I think I might just go and give these guys a help because there's only a couple of them. It's actually okay, someone else has come along from that other boat to give them a hand. But this is an example, very controlled mooring. Shame she's not wearing her life jacket, you know. She's going to hand her rope over like that. She's got one hand on the boat, but she's not too sure. He's now coming out, but the stern is now drifting. Again, no life jackets being worn. And everything's fine. There's nothing wrong here. But what if she, when she handed that rope, overreached and she slipped? You're in the water, and you know. So always coming into moor, life jacket on, please. But now you can see how the boat is being pushed away from the moorings. So of course, what that means is, for me, as I was just talking about, when I untie one of the ropes, the boat is just going to want to drift away. But we'll deal with that as and when. But I really feel that the top tip is, when you come to moor, please wear a life jacket. People sort of bang on about this all the time. When they were big, orange, horrible, fat, unwieldy things, I can appreciate why it was a pain in the arse to put one on. Now they're like this. Once they're on, they're comfortable, they're light, you can move around, and it just means that you've got that level of safety that regardless of what happens, they're auto-inflating, so you fall in, within a second they'll start to inflate rapidly. If you can, put your thumbs here, because these don't have crotch straps, which sounds a bit weird and rude, but what happens is, if this is, imagine that this is an enormous bright yellow sort of thing, it will go up like this, and your head will be like this in the water. If you can just yank that down like that when you're in the water, then your head will be like this, and it will keep your head up like that. Okay, a crotch strap which goes from here round and up to the back will stop that happening. Also, you want to make sure that they're fitted snug, but not like too tight. You can get your fist in here like this snugly, then that's good. If you can't, or if it's like really baggy, it's not going to be of any use at all. But your boatyard should advise you on that, tell you how to adjust the straps and so on and so forth. But as I say, it's not a big thing. They're modern, they're lightweight. I don't know why people don't just automatically, we're coming into moor, as I do, on with the life jacket, ready to moor. I know that I am guilty of the same thing. It's summer, you're on a boat, you've moored here like 50 times in the past, and you come along and you think, oh, it's fine, I'll just get off. But when you've been in situations where you've seen what can happen if people don't wear their life jacket and how quickly something can happen, it does make you think more carefully about self-preservation, because there are a lot of nasty currents on the rivers, and things can happen in a moment. And it's not even just someone going in the water and, you know, not drowning or something. It's how do you get them out of the water, and if they've got something on them that's physically strapped to them, then not only do they float, but you can get a boat hook round one of these things and pull them in to the bank, and, you know, have some kind of ability to better, you know, grasp them. Because even if you're trying to grab on a slippery hook with your hands that are wet, cold, or a life ring, it's not the same as, you know, something that you can physically just, you know, yank someone with, use it as a handle to pull them up with. So there's an awful lot of things about a life jacket other than just being buoyant that are handy to know and handy to have. So anyway, I'm not going to lecture anything or go on about it. We've said enough things about moorings and winds and boats and everything else. I'm going to go and have a quite peaceful walk around the Abbey, and we'll see what we can film as well. So here we are in the ruins of the old mill and part of the gatehouse of St Benets Abbey. But I bet you didn't know that St Benets Abbey was used as a place to watch a film. No. Well, we're going to watch a film I've just taken on an iPhone, and I'm just impressed with what you can do in a minute, and then basically about 30 seconds of taps, and you can have a fully fledged little movie trailer right ready to upload to YouTube from pretty much wherever you are, as long as you've got a phone signal. Pretty clever stuff. So here are the ruins of the gatehouse of the Abbey of St Bennet at Holme, and this is pretty much all that remains. But what is amazing about this is that some of the ruins that you can touch and see here date back to Anglo-Saxon times. Obviously the mill that was built within the ruins of the gatehouse is another ruin that was later added, but it really is some amazing scenery, somewhere truly peaceful, atmospheric to come here and just enjoy and chill out. And I just love coming here just for reflection and just to really switch off, if you like. A really special place, easily accessible to all, and well worth a stop if you're in the area, with the plentiful moorings just along the way on the River Bure. So I'm just preparing to leave the moorings here at St Benets, but you didn't think I'd remember your name, but because I've literally just talked to you and got back on the boat and preparing to leave, Simon, you've just got married, you're on the blog, well not technically, but your boat is, and lovely to meet you. So I hope you have a great holiday, and it's another example of someone who has been hooked by the Broads as a result of watching my videos, and has been inspired and given confidence to research and look up about tides and so on. So they're going to head south tomorrow. So newlyweds on their honeymoon on the Norfolk Broads. How beautiful is that? As for me, well, I've had a nice walk around the ruins of the Abbey and sit down and think and just be quiet, and now I feel thoroughly refreshed. However, behind us, not only have we got wind, we got rain coming, so my prediction of sort of April showers is probably going to come true. But But the first thing I've got to worry about is how am I going to get away from these moorings, because obviously, as I said before, the minute I untie any ropes, the wind's just going to take the boat. So we'll see how we get on, but might look a bit undignified departure. So now we're going to be departing. I've just wrapped that round the post. I don't know if you can see. So the aim of attack is undo the bow, go on the boat, untie from the cleat, boat drift out. There's no river traffic coming, there is a bit of rain in the distance. So back on the boat, nice and safe, letting the wind push my bow around, and we're doing a quick 360 and we're good to go. Lovely blue sky that way, rain falling before us this direction, but I'm no good at staying still at moorings and having boats pass me and the boat's going slush, slush, slush. So I thought, let's get underway again and just have a cruise about. I'm having a really nice, relaxed, chilled day. Turn off the various cameras. I don't know, most people are just like, well, we're underway, put the kettle on. I'm like, right, let's turn off the cameras. Surprising number of boats about actually today, both private and hire. It is a Saturday afternoon. I think a lot of people, you know, obviously they don't live locally perhaps, and they've had this, you know, gorgeous few days, and they thought we must go up to the boat on the weekend, and they come up to the boat and they say, yeah, it's windy but it's sunny, and now it looks like it's not going to be quite so sunny. But we've, as you know, had a really nice period of time when we were afloat, especially on the southern rivers, all of that sunshine. So we started with rain, and that's fine. Boat's got a windscreen wiper. I would be annoyed if I had a boat where, especially, the screens don't slope and they're just straight, and the water really doesn't really want to run off of those. On Broad Ambition we don't have a wiper, but we use Rain-X and a aquarium cleaner which has a magnet with a blade on one side, so you can move it and be your sort of windscreen wiper when absolutely necessary. But that's really all I've got to say. It's 5 minutes past 12. We've been moored at St Benets. We had a look round. I came back to the boat, had a bite to eat, and just prefer going along on a boat than standing still. So that's what we're doing, with no particular destination, but more as ever as it happens. So literally just been having a cruise about today. Went down to Sow House, turned round, just come up and just let the boat just drift into the reeds here while I prepared lunch, which looks absolutely bloody amazing, doesn't it? I mean, a pile of bread. Actually, it's double Gloucester cheese with sandwiches with tuna mayonnaise sandwich spread and a sort of pint of, hello, wind. No, I want to keep going straight, boat, thank you. And a pint of Doom Bar. Well, I say a pint, I'm not sure if it really is, but these are good things. Plastic beakers from Poundland, so you can't smash your glasses. So they're good for me. As you can see, we're just coming into Horning, and the weather has been really lovely actually. There was a little bit of rain, I had to take the cameras in, but the rain has passed. So it's a lovely Saturday. I saw a River Song pass with Simon and Sonia on board, which is always good. Haven't caught up with people really because I've not been about, they've not been about, or it's a passing on the river. So it'd be nice when the weather's a bit nicer and stuff to have a get together and catch up. But as a point of reference, if you know where we are, we're at Hoveton Little Broad, otherwise known as Blackwall's Broad. So not very far at all from where the Swan Inn in Horning is. Continues, however, outside to be quite windy and that chilly breeze coming across. Not got more than sort of 8 degrees today. So quite a different day, each day sort of different. But nonetheless, lovely to be afloat on the water. So you join me here for a little update on Fleet Dyke. I just want to give you a heads up here. Let me just show you what I can see. So the other day I was talking to you about you know, these areas like Womack Dyke that leads to Womack Water, and it's all been flattened in the reeds. You see that? That's a mooring that's sort of been reclaimed, and people use it, tread it down, cut the reeds, and so obviously you can easily wild moor there. However, you see the rest of it looks very much like you can't, and if you ever intend to, it is a fact of going in and then leaping off the boat into the reeds further enough in that you're not slipping into the water. Not to mention you can just maybe see the new fresh green reed growth coming. So this will change in the next sort of 2-3 weeks to a different sort of landscape, and very much once the reeds and their leaves come out, it will seem much thicker and much different. But I thought I'd just show you this to show you that despite the Environment Agency's best intentions to sort of rid the boat of available moorings, it is still possible to moor there. As for me, well, not doing too badly. The time is currently 3:15. We've done quite well with the weather. That biting wind still here. It has got warmer though. It was about 7.5 degrees earlier. It's now 9.5, so it's increased. To my left hand side there is a lot of rain going on, but it's literally, you can just see it with the wide open skies, that it's just one big cloud cell that's dropping the rain and around is dry. So it's just literally unlucky if you get caught in a downpour, but if you do, it will soon pass. As for where we're going to be going tonight, I could eat on the boat and have like my emergency rations. I just need to check nothing's behind us. Which I got yesterday, which is some waffles and some fish fingers, which, let's face it, not exactly like amazing on a boat. But I thought to myself, I haven't really had, I'm on holiday, I'm allowed to treat myself a little bit, so I thought I wouldn't mind eating out. And by the way, I can just see the tide is going out and fill the boat as I'm just turning here on Fleet Dyke. So that's going to give us a push down the Dyke now. But yeah, I thought to myself, I'd like to eat out one more time, and I thought going to Womack Water and walking into the village there and going to the pub, which is very nice. I do find it a little bit pricey for what you get. That's my only sort of thing. The last couple of times I've ate there, I've thought it's nice, but is it worthy of the price? Some people might say the Bridge Inn at Akel's expensive, but I like the atmosphere more there, and I've never had any issue with the food there at all. Anyway, long story short, blimey, that's where we're going to head back to the Bridge Inn. Tomorrow is Sunday, that's the last day, the full day, so I do the boat review and pack everything away. I like to get that done, so don't expect really anything tomorrow, because I'm just going to be sort of packing and doing the review, which takes a few hours sometimes, depending on how long it takes to pack stuff away, clean the boat through and make it all look spick and span, and then do the walkthrough. As for tomorrow evening, I won't be mooring in Barnes Brinkcraft's yard, but I thought about maybe mooring where I did with Belmore TC, which is just on the moorings opposite or next to Wroxham Broad. They're on the main River Bure, but they're only about sort of, I don't know, 10-15 minutes in the morning before you take the boat back. And then that's it. It'll be everything packed up, walk to the station, get the train, get back to London, and then Tuesday off to work again. But I'm planning on coming back on the Broads for the weekend of the Norfolk Broads meet, the forum, the norfolkbroadsnetwork.com. So that's something to look forward to, and of course, whenever Broad Ambition might be free and I'm able to, you know, it'd be nice to spend some time on her in the warmer, nicer weather, certainly. Just coming up to the River Bure. Quite a lot of sailing boats out today. It's almost as if they phone each other up and go, Harry, you know, is it me or is it a bit windy out? Yeah, it's a bit windy out actually. Yeah, I thought so. I'm doing this funny thing, pretending I'm on the phone, right? But I'm not changing my accent between changing my pretend phones. Well, that's a bit odd, Harry. I know, and I don't know what my name is. I know you're Harry. Am I Harry or are you Harry? I'm not sure, Harry. Anyway, shall we all get the gang together and go sailing, cause havoc with the day boats and boaters? I think you're on to that, Harry. Alright then, bruv. I still don't know if I'm Harry or if I'm Harry. Alright then, Harry. Harry, bye, bye. This is madness. Stop it immediately. So I've just been spotted by Star Gem 3, I believe, just as we approach Thurnmouth. It's him. Yes, indeed it is me, yes. So one of the things I was just thinking about was when I used to come away on holidays with my family, and especially my dad, and the first thing we would do when we moored up, what he would do, let's get the aerial sorted. And this is in the days, but obviously before digital telly, and they were the old aerials with the big rubber suction feet. So I'd be duly dispatched outside, and of course the result of this would be, it would never be the other way round. It would always be me on the outside, him on the inside, with my mum going, do we really need to watch telly again? Well, I've got to watch the news! So anyway, and what would happen is, you'd be in the middle of like nowhere like this, so you've got no reference of where you've got to point the aerial, and you take a best guess and they go, oh, that's not too bad, try left a bit, yeah, that's a bit there, left a bit more, So you do it a little bit more left, a little bit more left, and you'd leave it, and then all of a sudden the picture would go, and then you'd hear inside, "I lost a bloody picture! What have you done? I said left a bit." And you'd be like, "I haven't done anything." "Well, it's bloody gone." So then what you do is you have the aerial like this, and oh, for God's sake. So you bit the aerial, like, "Oh, that's great, whatever you did, that's great." "Yeah, well, I'm holding it." "Oh, well, it's great." So then you'd carefully put it down. No, it's gone again. "No, that's brilliant, brilliant where it is." And of course the suction feet would never suck on to the deck, so then you'd have to get the mop, dunk the mop in the water, drop the mop head on top of the aerial to keep it in place, then feed the aerial through the window, but then you'd be like, "Oh, I don't like that. There might be some midges get in." So we sort of close the window as tight on the aerial cable as you could, and then you'd wet pieces of kitchen towel to mould to seal the gap, to stop the midges getting in through that gap for the aerial lead. And then even if the picture went funny, once it was done, if he was watching a programme and it was like he'd still persevere through watching it, which is even worse now when it's digital signal and it's like we couldn't moor where you would have to pay. So Sow House Broad, forget it. Womack Water, you're having a laugh. No. And mud waiting on a broad? Oh no, I don't think so, because then the mud weight's got to be cleaned. And it comes up full of mud when you didn't think about just sort of dangling in the water and oh, it's clean. Nah. So never mud waiting on a broad, never moored anywhere we had to pay. And when I went away with my dad on Broad Ambition and we mud weighted on Barton Broad, that was the first time, and I just couldn't believe it. I said, "Look, we're on a mud weight here. It's night, by the way. We night nav to Barton Broad." And he was like, "Oh, right, oh." I don't know what he was worried about, because I was the one that's got to pull the mud weight out and clean it. But I'm sure that there's many a story of people on various boats over the years with all sorts of things going on. There was an evil person just went past there. Do you know, they were breaking all of the rules, and I feel like I have to go after them and, for the love of humanity, prevent them from doing it again. They were filming themselves vertically. I'm just going to demonstrate something, for the love of God, people. When you are doing a selfie, you can hold your camera like that. When you're doing a video, whether it's of yourself or of something, turn the camera like this. Because then, when you upload it on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere, people can actually watch it nicely instead of sort of a vertical line. And another thing, while I'm on about all of this, let me just avoid. Wind suddenly got up on this corner here and the boat's just gone a bit wibbly wobbly. And here comes the bloody rain. So I might have to go and cut this short because I've got a camera. Unprotected cameras. Cool blimey, that's a bit of a wind, blimey. Cool blimey there, Robs. Get those unprotected cameras in. Cool, we don't want to have any STDs. Oh, right, that's one in. Well, I've not only got an unprotected camera, I've got an unprotected power supply. I'll leave the unprotected power supply up there because it's only USB, but bear with me a second. Of all the bloody times this has happened, it's happening now, isn't it? Eh? Right, I've got my unprotected camera. Whew. I'm going to put it in some protection now. Oh, that's better. It's always better to practice safe camera ship. There we go. Right, we're recording. I'm going to put my protected camera outside. So we're just passing the boats on my right hand side that make up Horizon Class fleet. In front of us is the bridge at Acle, both physically and the restaurant slash pub, where this ends today's Captain's Blog and Cruise. Thank you for joining us. Please do remember to take all your personal belongings with you before departing the craft. Acle is your final destination. There's another boat in front of me. We'll go and look at the moorings to see if there's availability. If not, there's availability here and I'll walk. I can walk. Oh, but there's interesting manoeuvres going on here with people turning and currents and tides and stuff. So here we are, moored again outside the bridge inn at Acle, and I'm just behind Morning Swan. Thank you very much, Paul, if you're watching. Once I came into moor to help me with the ropes, because while I could tie up fine, I just couldn't bring the boat along away from the kink in the bank here without losing the front or losing the back on my own. So if his boat's outside, you'll be sure to find him inside, and he's a great help, so thanks very much. Just finished doing that, and then Broad Ambition came along, and so I gave them a hand. So it's all happening. I feel like I'm like the mooring attendant. But it's been a really nice day, relaxed day, and the weather's held off really nicely. So it's just basically the penultimate night, and tomorrow is the pack up. And it's a bit like Sunday afternoon, when you suddenly realise, oh, what a nice, oh, Monday tomorrow, work. It's that kind of feeling. Anyway, thanks for watching if you have been, and until tomorrow, I'm not sure what we're doing, where we're going, or what I'm going to be able to film other than the boat review. Then, as ever, more as it happens.